Hi, classmates. I'm going to go over my group proposal. I'm proposing that we do a group for families of overdose victims. So this is designed to help group members recover from losing a loved one to overdose. The idea really that underpins this is that by having both clients at the agency and family members that have lost loved ones to overdose, that'll be able to have both the substance use disordered population and the families represented in the group. Some humanistic and kind of person-centered therapy approaches and transpersonal theory will kind of make this group be most successful. I really like the idea of having this idea of personal growth and catharsis and being able to use other members in the group as a means to get that as a therapeutic benefit. So this would definitely qualify as a support group rather than like a treatment group, despite the fact that it occurs at a treatment facility, because this is not something that's billed to insurance. And more importantly, this group is really kind of for that recapitulation effect. That is one of the benefits of group. So this mutual aid kind of style can give a safe place for group members to share their feelings and really relate to one another. Lack of family support and unaddressed grief can lead to relapse, so this is extra important for clients at the agency, and attendance would definitely be voluntary for them to be able to get those added benefits. The agency is Sunrise Treatment Center of Dayton, Ohio. It's an outpatient opioid treatment program. It operates on ASAM level of 1 for those that are familiar with addiction terminology. The agency's mission is to, quote, provide the best behavioral health services while strengthening our communities and offering a great place to work. And then of course, the website proudly talks about their purpose to ease the suffering of those with substance abuse and mental illness. I think that's a perfect kind of foundation for the group that we're planning, because the community in Dayton, Ohio has been really hit hard by the overdose and the opioid epidemic. So because this is an opioid treatment program, it kind of can give back in that extra way of being able to service family members that have lost loved ones as well. So members can join voluntarily. The group's going to serve a population of people that are left behind after a loved one's overdose. I think that this population is underserved because the type of grief that is left for a family member isn't exactly one that's covered by kind of the standard buffet of mental health or substance use services. Many substance use clinicians, like in my state would be licensed chemical dependency counselors, they are not certified to do any kind of grief counseling. So there's a large gap there. Additionally, I would say kind of average everyday blue collar person in this in the Dayton area doesn't have access to regular like situational mental health services, including therapy. So I think having this kind of open support group that doesn't feel like they're having to pay for it and things like that is going to help this population have better show up rates. The group can recruit members first and foremost through clients, right? A lot of times a client will be in an individual session and begin to talk about family, friends, loved ones, parents that they've lost, that were kind of a motivation to bring them into treatment. So being able to have a specific place where they can kind of share that is important. It'll also be opened by word of mouth referral for clients and their family members, because there's a special connection for somebody that has lost somebody and does not understand the primal role addiction can play with a person that's overdosed. For a family member that doesn't quite understand that, to be able to see that there are still people that are trying to get this right, and still people that are surviving, and it kind of puts a more human face, and I can see can help with the grief process. There won't be any kind of limitations on membership, but it probably shouldn't exceed 20 people. If it does, at that point, maybe time limits on sharing should be done, like maybe limiting sharing to 5 minutes a person, so that everybody has the opportunity if they want to. I think it would be appropriate for ages 16 and older. To be able to participate, as with the nature of addictions, some things can kind of be a graphic nature. And so I think that pandering to an older adult demographic might serve well in that. I think that the group can continue to be open for all that are able to abide by group rules. There are things like being, avoiding violence and threatening behavior in group. Sexual advances on other group members would be a no-go. Things like that. I think that as far as like to be able to open the group, starting off with a moment of silence to introduce peace into the group, and then following that up with some kind of like meditation, maybe some light music that can allow the group members to kind of, connect with kind of the vulnerable nature of loss. And then I like the idea of kind of introducing a topic and letting the group choose that. So maybe being able to start the group off with that icebreaker of, my favorite activity to do with my lost loved one is. And as I'm kind of running through that in my mind, here in the moment, I'm thinking, well, if this is the very, very, very first group, it might be easier to not start on such a raw topic and like a raw note. So, I like the idea of kind of prompting the group, what is it that you hope to get out of the group? And kind of see where that goes. Some activities could be breaking up into dyads or triads, to kind of get a little bit more interest in the story. So I might prompt the group to, say split up in groups of 3, and then each person share who the name of the loved one they lost, the nature of the relationship, and I like to always kind of introduce something kind of silly or lighthearted. So maybe the funniest memory that you have with that person. And I think that might be able to kind of maybe help start off some of those trusting bonds and get some rapport going in the group. I think that the group is going to be provided by the agency free of charge. The group room at the agency, remove all the tables out of it, allow the chairs to get in a large circle, and then kind of setting the mood. So at times maybe flameless candles, having lots of tissue boxes that can be placed around. The agency won't offer transportation because it's a liability issue, but it could encourage members to carpool to and from the group. I think as far as ethics are concerned, the biggest ethical risks that I can see as possible would be like transference and countertransference, especially concerning the nature of what happens at death. That can be very, very personal and sometimes involve like spiritual beliefs. So because we're using some of that transpersonal counseling technique, it'll be very, very, very important to not kind of force a particular belief onto a member of the group, or to invalidate a member of the group's beliefs. So kind of having that open culture of acceptance among all of these various beliefs, I think, are going to help make the group a little bit more successful. I also think that there might be some sticky territory in confidentiality, because if a client chooses to come to group and I'm facilitating the group and this is my client, right? If the client chooses to bring up content from therapy, we could cross into some kind of sketchy HIPAA territory. I can't really bring anything from therapy into the group or even acknowledge this client as my client, especially if there are going to be people in the group that are non-clients. So at this point, maybe it would be more important to advertise the group as a support group, a community group, to kind of limit some of those potentially sticky situations. Evaluation of the group can be done. Obviously, the positive outcomes of this is going to be that interpersonal learning. Like, I want to learn about myself, and I want to learn about myself through learning about you. I also see some of that recapitulation being able to kind of reconstruct the dynamic of the lost loved one, and being able to have that support again. Also, coping skills for stress after the loss. and communication for continuing on with family members. Specifically, if there are going to be clients, those that have substance use disorder, and family members, being able to learn how to kind of facilitate those communications in the group can help, I think, with family members and clients outside of the group being able to kind of work on communication. I see that as a win-win for both, I guess, kind of demographics that are going to be in the group. I also think anonymous self-surveys are a good way to kind of evaluate the services offered at the group. I can encourage the members to, at the end, fill out, a short questionnaire or to report anonymously about what successes or challenges that they're having in the group, and then take into consideration some suggestions. All right, guys, thank you for listening to my group proposal. It's been a fun semester. I'm happy to share another piece of this social work puzzle with you guys. Appreciate it.